Welcome back to another episode of Rock Boys Football, taking a look at another 2023 NFL mock draft for the New York Giants. This is our third mock draft we've ran for the New York Giants, but this is the first time we're addressing it post-free agency. So a couple position of concerns that you might not be as concerned about. But before we get into the draft, I just want to say thank you to you guys. Been a ton of support from the New York Giants fans, letting me know their feedback on the last couple mock drafts we ran. And it means a lot. That's what the NFL draft season is about. Whether you agree with me or not, talking football in the comment section has been a blast for me, and the support you guys have shown truly means a lot. So if you do enjoy the content, consider subscribing to the channel. Get in the NFL draft talk in the comment sections. We appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Without further ado, let's get into this draft. And I'm a fan of what the Giants have done in free agency. I still think you're looking at addressing that wide receiver room, maybe a cornerback. But again, a lot of it has to do with seeing who falls to pick 25. I see Brian Branch here, and he can do so much for this Giants team. Looking at what they could do, he's one of the best players in this class. He's a top 15 guy on my board, and if you're talking best player available, I think Brian Branch is in that discussion. We haven't taken him for the Giants yet. Deonte Banks is who we went with last draft. The more I've gotten into his film, the more I'm not really sold on him being a top 32 level guy. I think he's a solid cornerback. I think he's much more of a day two pick. He had a very good combine, but when you get into the film, he hadn't played much football. He obviously missed pretty much all of 2021. I'm not sold on Deonte Banks. I'm seeing Brian Branch sitting here, and I mean, the secondary room in general could use some help, but Brian Branch is a guy that can do so much for this football team. Take a look at what Brian Branch has done. Not only is his film one of the best in the class, but he plays all over the field, right? Kind of playing that nickelback role for Alabama, also plays in the box a lot, deep safety a little bit. He does it all for Alabama. And why I think Brian Branch is one of the more special prospects in this class is you want to have as much coverage ability on the field while also to be able to stop the run. That's kind of the new modern way of running a defense. Brian Branch allows you to do that. He is the best box safety / nickel guy around the line of scrimmage. You can do a lot of different things with them. I think if you have a player like Brian Branch here at 25 overall, I think you have to take him. And again, looking at the wide receiver room, like you want to address it, but Josh Downs, Tank Dell, that would be a real stretch. And I'm a fan of some of the guys later on in this draft, Michael Wilson, A.T. Perry, even a guy like Bryce Ford Wheaton, who's way down this list. Those are some wide receivers that I could think could help the Giants later on. I'm not going to reach out for a cornerback that I don't necessarily like, or a guy like Josh Downs, who really does a very similar role to what Wayndell Robinson does. And if you guys remember last year, we've talked a little bit about it. You're not going to find a bigger Wayndell Robinson fan than I am coming out of Kentucky last year. Obviously, unfortunate injury, but he's going to be back. I'm not going to pick another guy that kind of plays that similar role. I think you have to take best player available. You're getting a top 15 guy on my board and on a lot of people's board at 25. I don't think you can pass that one up. 57 overall, we went John Michael Schmitz last draft. I think that would be another phenomenal pick. Looking at who's on the board, maybe this is where you could go and get your cornerback. A guy like Eli Ricks, I'm a massive fan of. Let's look at who's on the interior offensive line here. Andrew Voorhees, one of my favorite prospects, obviously tore his ACL at the combine, so he won't be ready to start this year. That one hurts bad because I was a massive Andrew Voorhees fan. I think you want to bolster that interior offensive line. I just don't know if anyone right now is available. And if this draft shakes out like this, maybe you're using that 25th overall pick to get a guy like Osiris Torrance or John Michael Schmitz. Sitting here, I'm going to go get one of my favorite players in this draft. And again, another Alabama cat, transfers from LSU. The reason you're seeing Eli Ricks so far kind of buried in this draft class is, one, that cornerback class is really, really good. And that's another reason why I passed on cornerback at 25th overall, because you can get a damn good cornerback round 2 and round 3. Eli Ricks has all-pro potential written all over him. Kind of a Joey Porter Jr. clone. The reason he's getting pushed down, 1, a very deep class, and 2, hadn't played much football, right? Banged up in 2021 at LSU, transfers to Alabama, gets in some off-the-field trouble with Nick Saban, but when Eli Ricks was playing football, he's one of the best cornerbacks in this class. Phenomenal length, extremely smooth hips. He has the whole package, right? And the length, the smoothness of an athlete, former 5-star out of high school. You take a look, he wasn't targeted very often. I don't blame opposing quarterbacks, but only gave up 6 receptions all year, 31.6% completion rate. gets his hands on footballs. You look at what he did as a true freshman at LSU, 4 interceptions, ball skills, smooth athlete, good length. Eli Ricks checks all the boxes of being a potential All-Pro as long as you get him on the field healthy and he kind of stays out of trouble off the field, which outside of that one incident, you're not too concerned about. Eli Ricks, a phenomenal pick at 57 in my mind. Again, a top 50. He might end up as a top 32 guy on my board. I'm a massive Eli Ricks fan. 89, 128. This is probably where you're looking at Olu, maybe a wide. Michael Wilson on the board here. Did we get Michael Wilson last draft? We did not. Michael Wilson is a phenomenal prospect. He's another guy that, and this is gonna like trigger some Giants fans in the sense that banged up wide receiver Kenny Golladay type guy. Yeah, he struggled with injuries at college, but if he stays healthy, like what he can do, I think is different from what a lot of these other Giants wide receivers in this room can do. He's 6'2", he's 210 pounds. You go look at his Senior Bowl, just type in Michael Wilson Senior Bowl, how smooth he is running routes, the separation he can create as a guy who is 6'2", 215 pounds is different. I think it's potential wide receiver one stuff. And yeah, he's not the biggest, he's not the fastest, but look at the wide receivers who are having success in the NFL. They're the route runners, right? Stephon Diggs, Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp. Not necessarily the big and fast guys, although you see guys like Julio Jones or DK Metcalf, the freaks still getting it done. Michael Wilson, though, that's where the NFL is going in terms of wide receivers having success, being a polished route runner. Michael Wilson, one of the best in the class at that, and 6'2", 215 pounds. Give me that size. Give me that route running ability all day in round 3. 128, 160. Got to address the interior offensive line. I think that has to be the pick here. And you might have to do it twice, right? I really like where they have the 2 buckend tackles that I'm a massive fan of. Olu's off the board. That one hurts. You got to take a look at who's available on the interior offensive line. Andrew Voorhees, he's not going to be ready year 1, but man, is he good. He's a top 75 guy on my board post before the injury. Chandler Zavala is a guy that I think is more of a plug-and-play dude. I'm going to go with Andrew Voorhees because, again, you treat the draft. You can always go get an interior offensive lineman who I think can be serviceable. Andrew Voorhees, I think, can be special. On the bench press, 34 reps in a full leg cast. I mean, this dude has extreme upper body strength, and you see it on the football field. Very explosive, a good athlete, but also just a body mover. I'll take Andrew Voorhees, stash him away for a year. I really like that pick. 160, 172, 2. We got a lot of day 3 picks. I love picking for the Giants. I get to talk about some McLennan Curtis for you Giants fans. I think he would be a really nice get at 156 in the sense that he is a dude that he played tackle at Chattanooga, but I think he's going to play guard at the next level. Bigger guy, very explosive, very strong, just not quite the athlete to play tackle. He was at Chattanooga, best player on the field. They had to put him at left tackle. I like Jalen. Hey, a lot of you guys were suggesting, I believe in the comments, so I'm going to check. I think a lot of people were kind of shouting out Jalen Monroe Cropper. That would be an interesting pick. 160. You have Darren Waller now. Bryce Ford Wheaton's another guy. If you want, did we take Bryce Ford Wheaton last draft? We did not. Let's take him. Bryce Ford Wheaton, again, doubling up in wide receivers, but Bryce Ford Wheaton is 6'2", or 6'4", 220 pounds, 4'3", 840, 40-inch vertical at the combine. When you watch his film, you think he's winning with physicality in that big body of his. And then he tests at the combine like a freak athlete. At round 5, like, go take a flyer on a guy like Bryce Ford Wheaton. Again, if McLennan Curtis was on the board, I'd probably be taking McLennan Curtis, but go take some upside with Bryce Ford Wheaton here. 2 wide receivers, 2 guys that I really like. I'm okay with it. 172 here. Do we have Ricky Stromberg on the board? I'm not opposed to taking a running back either, but let's see if Ricky Stromberg is here. Antonio Mafi, he's a guy that we've been taking a lot. I want to get, if Ricky Stromberg is here, I want to take him. He's not. That's tough. It has to be Antonio Mafi then. Alex Forsyth's another good guy. I think we'll take him a little bit later. Antonio Mafi's a very interesting prospect, right? One of my buddies who gets into the offensive line film a lot, loves him. Very, very good run blocker. He actually transitioned from the defensive line to the offensive line. So you see that defensive line power that he has. I think he's still kind of refining that pass protection. You see allowing 13 quarterback hurries. Probably not the best pass blocker yet, but I think he's going to be a hammer in the run game. And he's a guy he's super right? Like he has not played offensive line that much. He came in as a defensive lineman. I think there's a lot of development that can go into him. Antonio Mafi, he's an absolute hammer. I think you take him here. And again, more of a developmental guy, and you could take Alex Forsythe, and more of a plug-and-play kind of guy a little later in this draft. You have so many day 3 picks. You can stash a guy like Andrew Voorhees away, Antonio Mafi away for a year. Let him develop. Those guys could be special. What do we have in that running back room? So we put the tag on Saquon, which I think you're probably still thinking about taking a running back here. Let's see. Yeah, Matt Breida, Jay Sean Court. Yeah, we're taking Eric Gray. Eric Gray, one of my favorite running. He's a top 5 running back on my board. Elite elusive ability. He's 211 pounds, but he runs like he's 190. Very good out of the backfield. I think he's immediately running back 2 with the New York Giants. And if you don't bring back Saquon after the tag, I think Eric Gray's an RB1. Again, I love Saquon. I know New York Giants fans love Saquon, but paying a running back all that money after their rookie deal is just not how I would choose to build a roster. I don't think that's how Brian Daboll wants to run that roster. So I think Eric Gray stashing him for after Saquon I think would make a lot of sense here. Let's go. Is Alex Forsythe on the board? He's a guy that I wanted to touch on at least. Yeah. He's a plug and play guy, right? We drafted Andrew Voorhees and Antonio Mafi, 2 guys that probably are more developmental guys. Andrew Voorhees would have not been, but now with the ACL, he's a guy that you're not going to rely on year 1. Antonio Mafi could be ready in year 1. I think he needs some work. Alex Forsythe, I don't think he's going to be an all-pro. That's why you're seeing him as a round 7 pick, but he's a damn good center. I think if you need him to play in a pinch year 1, I think he can make it happen and be a solid center. 243. I like D. Winters at that linebacker spot. And Bobby O was a big signing. I don't think that kind of avoids you having to like pigeonhole yourself into taking one. I also like Servosia Dennis a lot. I'm going to go with D. Winters. D. Winters is a guy that sideline to sideline speed. He's a great open field tackler. Good in coverage. I think Servosia Dennis is probably better in coverage. But D. Winters is a guy that if you need him to play as a rookie, he's going to be very good on special teams. But he was phenomenal for TCU in 2020. Maybe double up and go get Servosia Dennis as well. I mean, I might do it. Kayvon Merriweather. Did we get Eco? Did I touch on Eco Leota last time? Let me check. We didn't. We're gonna go get Eco Leota. He's a guy, he banged up in 2022. I remember watching Derek Hall and Kobe Wooden film in the summer and saying, Eco Leota, he's a stud. And he not many people talking about him. He's a pure pass rusher. I don't think he's going to be on the field in first and second down. You want a guy that can carve out a role. Eco Leota will do that. Taking a look at how we get graded out here, Brian Branch and again, not necessarily the biggest need, but I think he can do so many different things for the Giants that he's going to find the field. Honestly, very similar prospect to Xavier McKinney. But Brian Branch's film in 2022 was just so good. Getting pushed down boards a little bit, that 4.62 40 is concerning. You don't see the lack of explosiveness or speed on the film, though. This guy plays with instincts. He's an extremely good tackler in the box. Again, can do so many different things. Eli Ricks, kind of a my guy pick there, I'll say. I love Eli Ricks' film. I think he has all pro written all over him. Michael Wilson, Bryce Ford Wheaton. I think these are 2 phenomenal picks here. 2 guys I think could get some serious playing time early in this Giants offense. And then a couple developmental guys. Andrew Voorhees with the injury. Antonio Mafi, obviously the former defensive lineman. Eric Gray, dynamite pick. Alex Forsythe I really like as well. Then you get a solid backer in D. Winters. Pretty solid New York Giants draft. Again, let me know in the comment section what you guys are thinking. We kind of went through this in a New York minute, but I appreciate all the support you guys have shown. Let me know how you guys think this draft went. And, of course, if you do enjoy the content, you want to support the boys, consider subscribing to the channel, and we'll talk to y'all later. Peace.